disturbed. Dark gatherings, ominous figures, and moments so unnatural they make no sense at all. Stay tuned, because these are the kind of clips you'll replay just to make sure you really saw them. Residents of a private residence in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, had long dealt with minor but unsettling disturbances, such as objects breaking at night, faint scraping noises along the walls, and plants disappearing from high-rise balconies. Most dismissed these incidents as the work of animals like monkeys or stray cats, though a few quietly suspected something more unusual. Weeks earlier, a little one nearby claimed to have seen a girl climbing like a lizard outside a window, but the account was ignored. One night, a pot fell and shattered near the entrance, and security footage later confirmed no one had thrown it. The video showed something unexplained, after which the family in the affected unit decided to sell the property suddenly. Unseen presence. This young couple living in their home began experiencing unusual disturbances that led them to suspect something was wrong in the house. To document the incidents, they started recording their surroundings. During one of the recordings, while the husband was filming his wife, she became frustrated and asked him to stop. At that exact moment, the door reportedly slammed shut on its own. When he moved to open it, he claims he saw her lifted upward toward the ceiling as if affected by an unseen force. The situation left them shaken, with the incident suggesting an unexplained presence in the home that had not yet ceased. Paranormal levitation. This video, recorded on December 15th, 2026, shows a young woman resting on a couch when an unexplained disturbance appears to affect her. She had reportedly been experiencing a persistent sense of presence in the room, particularly during sleep, and chose to leave a recording to document any unusual activity. The footage appears to capture a sudden and intense moment that has since drawn widespread attention online. While some viewers interpret the incident as possible paranormal involvement, others suggest there may be alternative explanations. No definitive conclusion has been reached regarding what caused the events seen in the recording. Serbian dancing lady. As this delivery guy was traveling through a quiet crossroad in Serbia with a helmet camera, he reportedly encountered a strange sight. A woman alone in the road repeatedly performing the same slow dance-like step. Curious, he slowed down and briefly interrupted her movement, which seemed to change her demeanor instantly. When she turned toward him, he noticed her face appeared unnaturally indistinct, leaving him unsettled. The situation quickly escalated as she moved toward him in an aggressive manner, prompting him to abandon his bike and flee on foot. The footage later sparked online speculation, with some linking the encounter to local folklore about a restless spirit said to appear on deserted roads. Backfired ritual. This video is a creepy reminder that messing around with unknown rituals can go very wrong. It starts in a dark room where drawers are suddenly slamming open and shut non-stop, like something invisible is messing with them. Apparently, a group of friends had tried a ritual, thinking it would give them some kind of power. They set up candles around one guy and started chanting, not really knowing what they were doing. But things quickly got out of hand, and whatever they triggered didn't feel right at all. Freaked out, they stopped everything immediately, not knowing what they might have brought into the room. Shadow visitor. A CCTV camera from the home of a special edition premium collector filmed the appearance of something very bizarre. From the darker part of the room, a strange figure seemed to emerge and stand still, as if looking directly inside for unknown reasons. The owner, concerned about his valuable collection, later shared the footage for further review. The figure's features were difficult to define, but it appeared to have large, dark eyes and a faint, unclear face, while the rest of its body blended into the shadows. Its presence felt unfamiliar and unsettling, leaving the encounter without any clear explanation. Motel spirits. While staying at a motel in Memphis during a work trip, a man reported a sudden and unsettling encounter just outside his room. According to his account, two ghost-like figures appeared without warning, with no sign of how they approached. At first, they stood motionless, seemingly focused on him, before producing low, disturbing sounds that heightened the tension of the moment. He felt as though their presence was intentional, almost as if they were trying to force him away from the area. Shaken by the experience, he later shared the footage online, where it quickly sparked discussion and speculation about what had been captured. Little girl's interaction. Home security footage captured a young girl inside the house, seemingly engaging with someone who wasn't visible on camera. At one point, she extended a box of candy as if offering it, when her arm abruptly snapped backward, as though something had pulled it. Moments later, the tension eased, but the second box she was holding appeared to shift on its own, as if briefly taken by an unseen presence. When her parents later watched the recording, they were deeply unsettled, troubled by how close their little one seemed to something they couldn't identify or understand. Playground shadow. Students from a boys' hostel in Greater Noida, India, were returning around 11 p.m. when they noticed something unusual in a nearby playground. A dark figure appeared to be swinging on its own in an erratic, forceful way that immediately caught their attention. The movement seemed strangely deliberate, as if meant to be noticed by anyone watching. Keeping their distance, the students recorded the scene from afar before quickly leaving. The footage was later shared on social media, where viewers debated what the figure might have been, as no clear explanation for the incident has been confirmed. University poltergeist. A university student in Cuba who had arrived early at her university to make a TikTok video with a friend decided to record a casual video while waiting outside their classroom. What started as a light moment quickly turned unsettling when she suddenly jolted backward, as if something had pulled her from behind, nearly causing her to lose balance. Although she tried to play it off on camera, her reaction suggested she was shaken by what had just happened. The brief incident left both of them uneasy, as there was no clear explanation for the sudden movement in an otherwise empty area. Cursed village. More than 2 centuries ago, the village of Kuldhara in India was suddenly abandoned, and over time, it became associated with legends of a lingering curse. In January 2026, a short Instagram clip renewed interest in the site when it appeared to show a figure dressed in a white sari moving slowly through a deserted street. The scene looked unsettling, as the figure seemed to lack a visible head in the dim footage. It approaches an old house, knocks on the door several times, then steps back and fades out of view. The recording ends abruptly, leaving no explanation for what was captured or what followed afterward. Ghostly girl. Surveillance footage from a classroom in Okinawa, Japan, dated the 30th of October 2020, shows an unusual and unexplained sequence of events. The classroom door slowly opens on its own, and a girl is seen entering the room. After walking a few steps inside, she turns toward the camera, and her eyes appear to reflect an unusual glow. At the same moment, a chair in the room suddenly tips over without any visible cause. She then pauses briefly, looks toward the camera, and quietly exits the classroom. The video later circulated online and sparked renewed discussion about earlier staff reports of strange nighttime sightings in the school. Chicago shadow grab. Late one night, A tenant returning to his Chicago apartment stepped out for a smoke before being seized by an unknown force. He saw nothing with his own eyes, yet the security camera captured what appeared to be the dark shadow of a large being responsible for the incident. According to the victim, he was dragged several meters across the hallway before being released, left shaken on the floor with no visible explanation for what had held him. The building showed no signs of any intruder, and nothing the naked eye could detect accounted for what the camera had clearly recorded, dragging him down that corridor. Mirror figure.
You can see there's a shape that looks like a person.
The young woman here, named Fizana, noticed something in her reflection that she had not placed there. A figure standing directly behind her, visible only through the mirror, bearing an unsettling resemblance to herself. Unable to see it by turning around directly, she began filming the reflection and shared it online. The concept of encountering a double of oneself carries deeply troubling implications across multiple cultural and paranormal traditions, often interpreted as an omen. Whether what appeared behind Fizana in that mirror was a doppelganger, a residual energy, or something using her image as a form is a question the footage raises without answering.
There's no way there could be someone standing there.
Grand satanic ritual. An anonymous source leaked footage claiming to have filmed it after going undercover on a secret island to document what appeared to be an Illuminati satanic ritual. The clip shows robed participants gathered around a horned Baphomet head with a fire burning within its star sign, as though the group was actively attempting to summon a presence. The secrecy of the location, the deliberate nature of the ceremony, and the symbols involved left little ambiguity about what the participants believed they were doing. No identities were disclosed, and the island's location was never shared, leaving the footage as the only record of what took place there that night. Hatman figure.
No, sí está.
¿Sí está?
Ese es el velador.
Strange entity sitting in a closed restaurant. Somewhere in downtown Acapulco, Mexico, a couple noticed something sitting inside a restaurant that had been closed for some time. The figure occupied a partially lit booth, wearing a dark hat and attire that made it visible enough to be unsettling without being clear enough to identify. Whether it was a person who had found a way inside, a ghost occupying a familiar space, or something else entirely choosing to sit in the dim light of a closed restaurant, the couple could not determine. They filmed what they could see from outside and left without investigating further, which, given the description of what was sitting in that booth, was arguably the correct decision.
¡Cállate! ¡Y hay un señor allá adentro!
Black Shadow. On the 17th of December, 2025, a recorder exploring an abandoned portion of a building in India late at night captured a black shadow moving through the darkness with a deliberateness that felt entirely intentional. The section had been unoccupied for some time, yet the shadow moved through it with an awareness that suggested familiarity with the space. Viewers who reviewed the footage noted that its shape and behavior placed it firmly outside anything attributable to light, angle, or passing traffic outside. No explanation for what was moving through that abandoned building on the night of December 17th has been offered since the footage was shared. Staring una bruja. While using the toilet in her motel room, a young woman reached for her camera out of pure panic after noticing something she could only describe as a ghost. A terrifying-looking girl had appeared, staring at her with a fixity and presence bearing none of the qualities of an ordinary person. The footage she captured has since circulated online, with viewers noting that the figure's appearance matched descriptions most commonly associated with what Latin American tradition identifies as a bruja. No rational explanation for the presence of that figure in the motel room has been offered since the clip was shared. Street Nun. Lone Kansas resident filmed and shared a clip on the 20th of October, 2023, showing a woman in a nun outfit who had been walking up and down the same street for over an hour, without apparent purpose or destination. The behavior was unusual enough on its own, but something about the way she continued unhurried, repetitive, and entirely indifferent to those watching created an unease the resident felt compelled to document. Whether she was a religious woman on a personal practice, someone in distress, or something that defied either explanation, no one on that street appeared comfortable enough to walk out and ask. Mother's voice? After returning to the abandoned house he grew up in and stepping inside for the first time in years, he was stopped almost immediately by something coming from downstairs. A voice called his name, sounding exactly like his mother, who had passed away years earlier. He stood at the top of the stairs, listening to a voice that had no place in that house, torn between the impulse to go down and the instinct to leave. Whether something had been waiting there all along and simply used his mother's voice to call him down, or whether the house was playing on his grief, he has not been able to say. Bonita's stove. One Saturday at 3 p.m., Bonita Adonis was home alone in her kitchen when her security camera captured something she had no explanation for. A shadowy figure passed through the frame, and immediately after, the stove began shaking aggressively before lifting and slamming back down on its own. The incident occurred not long after the family had gathered at Bonita's home following the passing of her grandmother, who had died naturally while under her care. Those close to the family believe the stove's behavior may have been the grandmother making her presence known, and the timing of the shadow directly before the disturbance has made that theory difficult for even skeptical viewers to dismiss entirely. Man lifting car. After finishing his shopping, a man returned to find his car tightly wedged between two other vehicles, making it impossible to drive out normally. Instead of waiting for help, he stepped behind the car and, to the surprise of nearby onlookers, managed to lift and shift it sideways out of the cramped parking space. Two bystanders watching the scene were left stunned, struggling to understand how one person could move the vehicle like that. The moment quickly drew attention, as it looked almost like something out of a film, with people questioning what they had just witnessed. Signal hijack. Imagine watching TV, and suddenly the signal gets taken over by something completely unexpected. That's exactly what happened in Chicago in 1987. Around 11:15 p.m., viewers tuned into Doctor Who were interrupted by a strange figure wearing a mask, appearing out of nowhere on their screens. The first interruption was brief, as engineers managed to restore the broadcast quickly, but later that same night, the signal was hijacked again, this time lasting longer and becoming even more bizarre. The person seemed to be mimicking Max Headroom, a fictional character from the 1980s, but the meaning behind the strange behavior was never clear. Despite investigations, the identity of the hijacker was never discovered. Black-eyed girl. In a rural area on the outskirts of Ohio in April 2021, a resident recorded a disturbing encounter outside their home. The footage shows a young girl appearing suddenly and asking to be let inside, her tone described as urgent and unsettling. At first, she seemed like a little one in distress, but her appearance raised concern. Her eyes appeared completely dark, and her age was difficult to determine. The unusual combination of her behavior and features led some viewers to connect the sighting to stories of so-called black-eyed little ones. While the video spread quickly online, no clear explanation has been confirmed, leaving the incident open to interpretation.
What? What's wrong with you?
Twisted head. While exploring an abandoned hospital in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, on the 4th of July 2025, a group of Arab paranormal investigators captured something they hadn't anticipated. Deep inside the building, a female-shaped figure appeared on camera, standing still before suddenly reacting. In a moment that startled everyone present, its head twisted sharply at an unnatural angle, far beyond normal human movement, as if aware it was being observed. The deliberate motion caused the team to retreat immediately. The footage later circulated widely, with many considering it one of the more unsettling recordings to come out of a paranormal investigation in the region. Spirit of Black Eye. The disturbing clip that surfaced online on the 17th of November, 2023, appears to show a little one's reflection suddenly going still, with eyes that look unnaturally dark. The video was reportedly recorded by a babysitter while the little one's parents were away, leaving her both frightened and deeply concerned about what she was witnessing. As the footage spread online, it sparked intense discussion, with some paranormal enthusiasts linking it to stories of black-eyed little ones. Others, however, questioned whether there might be a more ordinary explanation behind the unusual appearance. To this day, no clear conclusion has been reached about what the video actually shows. Bedroom horror. Late one night, a Minnesota resident was asleep in his home when a disturbing incident was later discovered on his security camera, dated the 28th of December, 2023. In the days leading up to it, he had reportedly experimented with an Ouija board out of curiosity, after which he began experiencing disturbed sleep and vivid nightmares, often waking with a strong sense that something was nearby. When he later reviewed the footage, he believed it showed unusual and unexplained movement occurring around him while he slept. Although the recording was unclear, it intensified his concerns and led him to suspect a connection between the disturbances and his attempt at spirit communication. Red Room. In a sensitive clip shows a girl inside a cluttered, unhygienic room where something immediately seems off. At one point, a cardboard box suddenly drops from above, startling her and causing visible panic. The footage then shifts, showing her eating and later holding up a handwritten sign toward the camera, appearing to ask for more food. The situation has led some viewers to believe she may have been in a controlled or restricted environment with limited access to basic needs. The tension escalates when someone appears to attempt to force entry into the room, leaving her visibly frightened. The clip ends abruptly, and her condition afterward remains unknown. Attempted abduction. An Instagram user shared footage on the 26th of March, 2026, claiming it documented her attempted abduction by aliens, stating the entire event had been captured on camera that night. The clip spread rapidly after being posted, drawing a mix of concern and skepticism from viewers who questioned both the authenticity of her account and certain inconsistencies visible within the footage itself. Whether what she experienced was genuine, staged, or something that falls somewhere between the two has not been determined, and the woman has not provided additional context beyond what was shared in the original post. The debate the footage ignited has continued online, without resolution on either side. Neighbor's face.
Это все видят, или мне это только кажется?
A Russian man sitting alone inside his car shared footage of something that had formed on his windshield without any visible cause. A human face, clear enough for him to recognize immediately as his neighbor, who had passed away 5 years earlier. He filmed the windshield and shared the clip online, noting that no one was standing outside the vehicle and no external source could account for the image on the glass. Whether the appearance of a deceased neighbor's face on a car windshield represents a paranormal visitation or something far more difficult to classify, the footage has not produced a satisfying explanation for either possibility. Manila teleportation. Old CCTV footage from the outskirts of Manila captured a moment that has continued to circulate widely long after it was first recorded. A man walking across the street as a fast-moving car approaches, disappears from one position, and reappears further along the road within a single heartbeat, leaving no visual explanation for how it happened. Those who reviewed the footage were divided between three interpretations: superhuman speed, magic, or a genuine paranormal event involving teleportation. Whatever occurred on that Manila street, the camera captured something that ordinary physics has proven entirely unable to account for, and the debate around it has never fully settled.